Hello, and welcome to week 5 of Letting the Light In, a devotional series by the Leprosy Mission. Each week, we look at passages from the Bible to help us reflect on the isolation we are all experiencing during the coronavirus outbreak. My name is Jarrett, and this week's theme is Faith Amid Darkness, and our reading is from Acts chapter 3, verses 1 to 16. At the beginning of Acts chapter 3, we read that Peter and John come across a man who has been unable to walk since birth. Repeating almost verbatim the words of Jesus from Mark chapter 2, they say to him, "In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, get up and walk." The response from the man is vigorous and joyful. Not only does he stand up and walk, he leaps around praising God. The response from those who see this man who was once paralyzed now leaping in praise is astonishment. Luke records them as being filled with wonder and amazement. It is here that Peter begins to address the burgeoning crowd of people. "Why do you marvel at this? Why look at us as though by our power or piety this man now walks?" One of the questions I keep turning to about the COVID-19 virus has to do with who survives and who does not survive. I read one story this week about a woman 106 years old who has been discharged from hospital after surviving the virus. That is joyful news indeed. But it seems for every one of those survivors, I come across another story about someone fit, young, and healthy who did not survive and whose future has been robbed. The beginning of this week was difficult for me. I received word that, over the weekend, 3 people I know had lost their lives due to the effects of COVID-19. Even more difficult, I know that their loved ones will not be able to hug or console one another when the time comes for their funeral services. This gruesome virus is a thief that continues to steal hope, joy, and life itself. I find myself turning to this story in Acts and identifying most of all with the people in the crowd. Not only am I asking, how was this man made to walk? I am also asking, why him and not someone else? Why the man outside the gates? Why the 106-year-old woman? Why did they get to survive and thrive, but others have their lives taken away? I can imagine these same questions being asked by those who have lost loved ones. But however much we want to know why, it is hard to imagine any answer that could ever make sense to us. It seems there are some why questions that will always hang in the air, ever present throughout our lives, without an answer. And all we can do is reconcile that uncertainty with our faith in a God who loves and cares for his creation. That is part of being a Christian. However, I think there is a wonderful gem in how Peter responds to the crowd. And in his words, I hear something comforting. Peter asks, "Why look at us as though by our own power or piety this man walks?" The man who was disabled has not been healed, as it were, because of something. It was not by cause and effect. It was not a cure like reconstructive surgery or medication. It was not because the man was holy and therefore deserved to be cured. It wasn't even because Peter and John somehow had superhuman faith. Instead, Peter points to Jesus in verse 16, saying, "The name of Jesus, by faith in his name, has made this man strong. And the faith that is through Jesus has given the man this perfect health." If you notice, Peter does not say that it is the man's faith alone that has done this. Otherwise, he would be crediting a human being for this miracle, something Peter was at pains to disclaim. Rather, it is the faith through Jesus that makes this man walk again. It is as though Peter is saying to us, this faith in Jesus that is given by Christ alone, it is the same faith in action you see here in this man who now leaps and praises God. What looks like a story primarily about faith-filled apostles doing amazing things turns out to be the continuation of a story about Jesus, who, in his physical absence, carries on working in and through his followers. When I visited Nepal last year, I was able to witness reconstructive surgery being done for patients affected by leprosy. Because of a loss of sensation, people with leprosy will often see their fingers curl into a claw shape. But reconstructive surgery makes it possible for patients to use their hands, feet, and even eyelids again. It is a healing that I marveled at, something that took thousands of years of human history to discover. If not for the pioneering work of Christian medical missionaries Doctors Paul and Margaret Brand, this healing would not be possible today. When asked why they committed their life's work as surgeons to people with leprosy, they would point to Jesus. They, like Peter, identified that it was not their effort and ingenuity that should be credited, but the faith given them through Christ. COVID-19 may be getting the headlines right now, but that does not mean it is the main story. The main story, for the Christian, is the continuing life of Christ through those who trust in him and follow him. My hope is that we, by that same faith, can come to bring healing and hope to those like the disabled man at the gate, and that, in our own healing, we might turn to God in praise. Indeed, when was the last time you leapt around in joy?